Okay. There we go. All right. That being said, the course is designed for you to be in a clinical practicum site, engaging in diagnostics, evaluation of patients, remediation of patients, management, and counseling of persons who have speech and language impairments. This semester you're in a medical setting, and that's a good thing. So as long as you are getting clinical practicum hours, then you must be under the supervision of a person who has the certificate of clinical competence. So the content of this course will center around guidelines and information that you're going to need to be successful in the practice of speech-language pathology. So the purpose of the course is to expose you to professional issues in speech-language pathology on both the state and national levels, to assist you in understanding professional liability issues and risk management, because when you go out and practice, you then can be sued. Now, you can be sued as a student. However, that's why we make sure you have malpractice insurance. Somebody's mic is on, so please mute your mic so we don't hear what's going on in the background. I also need to assist you in understanding certification and licensure, particularly in the state of Tennessee. I won't be able to talk about certification and licensure in every state, but I will talk about it in the state of Tennessee for those of you who live here. For those of you who are in other states, then you need to become intimately familiar with the licensure laws in your state and how to become certified and licensed in your state. And then I also want to expose you to the various career opportunities in speech-language pathology. So the course objectives are those that are required in terms of competencies for the ASHA standards, 2014 standards for the Certificate of Clinical Competence, because you're coming out in 2014. However, you have kind of come out before the standards changed. And the new standards, the August 1st, 2017, the 2017 standards must be implemented. So you get to graduate without having to worry about those standards, unless you do not pass the praxis and you don't get certified after you have graduated. You'll have a couple of times to take it, but after that, if you don't get certified, then you will have to come back under the new standards. So that's something to think about, okay? So what are we going to discuss in this class? We're going to discuss standards of ethical conduct as reflected in your ability to interpret the ASHA Code of Ethics and to adhere to the ASHA Code of Ethics during your clinical practicum experience. We will discuss contemporary professional issues in the areas of healthcare and education that affect speech-language pathology, such as professional practice issues, ASHA practice policies and guidelines, and reimbursement issues. We're going to talk about licensure, certification, and state and federal regulations and policies that relate to the practice of speech-language pathology. And then in your clinical practicum sites, you should be learning how to administer appropriate assessment instruments for the types of patients that you're working with. You are going to also be rated in your ability to interpret, integrate, and synthesize information in a manner that will allow you to make an appropriate diagnosis, an appropriate referral, or to develop an appropriate intervention plan for clients in their practicum environments. You should be able to measure and evaluate the performance and progress of clients and outcome of treatment. Guys, hold on. That is my mother. She's visiting from South Carolina. I need to just make sure that she's okay. So let me answer her, please. Hi guys, can you hear me? You hadn't heard anything that I have said, have you? I have just been talking and talking to you. Wow, that's because I turned off the talk. Okay, thank you so much. I wasn't looking at your responses. That is hilarious. Oh my God. Okay, well, so let me just say it again. I've been back talking to you for a while, so I'm sorry. But what I did talk about was attendance. So did you hear anything about professional? You didn't hear about professional liability. Everybody should have professional liability. You already know that. You should already have your TB skin test, and you should have gone through your background checks, okay? So what I did say about the standards was the 2014 standards are what you came in under, and that's what you'll graduate under. Oh, my God. But in August, you will be under the, not you, but new classes coming in will be under the 2017 standard. August the 1st is the implementation deadline for the new 2017 standards. What's different about the standards is that they require that the students participate in interprofessional education, interdisciplinary professional education, or interdisciplinary professional practice. And we're already doing that. We already had 2 of those types of medical simulations with the traditional students at Meharry and at Lipscomb, but we have to implement it with our distance students. Okay? That being said, you don't have to worry about the 2017 standards. Even those that graduate in December will still, you came in under 2014, so you're going to be fine. And in terms of, you know, you'll be held to the 2014 standards. There are no 2015 standards. So you're fine, Sophia, yes. It would be nice if you passed the practice before August, but the point is that you're going to be taking comps, and comps is July the 1st, I believe, the first weekend in July. And while you're studying for comps, then our recommendation would be that you go ahead and take the practice. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Do you need to get new liability insurance for your medical sites? No, but you must have liability insurance, and it must still be in existence. Okay. You can take the practice in August and be okay, not a problem. You can't get certified without passing the practice, but you'll have a year to go through the certification. But my recommendation would be that you go ahead and take it, you know, towards the end of the summer. Okay, after you've completed the majority of your coursework. Okay. So everybody, again, background checks. How many of you have been through new background checks because of the site that you're in? If you have, then say, I have, or me, or whatever. Only Lindsay? Okay, Jill. Oh, Jill, I know you did. Okay. I know, it's just outrageous. Okay. All right, if your site hasn't wanted anything. Yeah. Alana, where's your site? Let me look. Whitney, you are, oh, Bluegrass. Yeah, the president has the contract, I believe. So you should be in it shortly, I believe. Okay. I'll double check. Let's see. I have lost you guys. Where are you? The contract is, should I be contacted? No, not yet, Sharon. We're dealing with the site for you. The legal is dealing with the site, so you need to stay out of it. We're trying to negotiate with them, so we'll get back with you. Okay? So once you're cleared to go into your site, Miss Herbert will clear you and say, now you can go into the site. But if we're still dealing with a contractual issue, then you cannot go into the site. Stay away from the site. Okay? Okay. All right. So, attendance, mandatory. And if you can't attend, please send me an email so that I will understand what the problem is. You won't have any examinations in here, but you will have kind of activities that you'll have to engage in, and some of them are written, so you will get a grade for those activities. If you need disability accommodation, then you should visit the Office of Disabilities Services. The phone number and the website address are in the syllabus. Sexual conduct, domestic dating, violence, stalking will not be tolerated. We recognize the importance of providing an environment that's free from those forms of discrimination and sexual harassment, assault or violence, and stalking. And if you are going through any of those kinds of negative types of behaviors or events, then understand that there are resources that are available to you. And as the faculty and instructor of this course, I am a responsible employee, which means that if you tell me that I am required to report the incidents of sexual violence, domestic dating, or stalking to the Title IX coordinator, I must report it. Now, even though I report the incident, you do have some control over how the situation is going to be handled. And you also can decide whether or not you wish to pursue a formal complaint. So the goal is to make sure that you are aware of the range of options that are available to you and that you have access to the resources. You're also encouraged to contact the Title IX coordinator yourself to report any incidences of sexual harassment, sexual violence, domestic dating violence, or stalking. In your syllabus, you have the Title IX building, Title IX coordinator's location, and the name of the building. She's in the McWhorter administration building. But there's a phone number, and there's also a web address. Harassment and discrimination is not going to be tolerated. TSU is firmly committed to complying with all federal, state, and local laws that prohibit harassment and discrimination based on race, color, national origin, gender, age, disability, religion, so forth. So in essence, you cannot be denied an education, be it academic or clinical, because you are a member of a protected class. And if you believe you're being discriminated against, you really want to contact the Office of Equity and Inclusion at McWhorter Administration Building. And of course, you can also call. Okay. So, what are the course requirements? Most of you guys are in your clinical practicum sites. Who right now is not in their clinical practicum sites? How many people are not in? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Work starts Monday. Stephanie, you've been assigned. Oh, we have Stephanie Austin joining us in this class, and Stephanie is in the traditional program. But you will start. Yay. Hey, everybody. Okay. Hello, everybody. All right. So nobody has started, but who has started their clinical practicum? Okay, Elizabeth, Kelly, Sarah, okay, Ashley. All right. And who will start on Monday? Brooke Alder. Who will start next week? Denise. Okay. Stephanie, when will you start? Because you're going through the VA, and that takes a minute. Stephanie, can you talk to us? Do you have a mic? I know.
Can you hear me?
I definitely can. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Are you going to the
on Monday?
Okay. Very good. All right. Everybody else, let's see. Compton. Nicole, where are you going? What's your site? Nicole Compton, what's your site? Oh, I can't hear you if you're trying to talk. Oh, Tenova. Okay, very good. All right, very good. Okay. So for those who are waiting, the president does have about 5 contracts in her office. We hope to get those signed. I just got back one today. They understand the urgency, and so I think that you'll be good to go by next week, hopefully. Okay? All right, that being said, Stephanie, what we did was we went into eLearn. Your course is in eLearn. And we went into the content section, and everybody has pulled up the course syllabus, and I'm just going through the course syllabus. Okay. But Stephanie, let me think about this. I believe you're in the wrong clinical practicum, I think. Yeah. Because you should be with Julie Poussin in the 96 clinical practicum, which meets 3 Saturdays this summer. Okay? So, because this is the clinical practicum that you've already taken. This is the one that talks about certification and membership, professional liability. Were you in class? You were in the traditional class this past spring, correct? And you can talk to me, Stephanie. Talk to me right quick. Yeah, so therefore, this is the same. This class is comparable to the class you already took. But the class you need to be enrolled in is the clinical practicum course that I'm teaching. That's an on-ground course. I teach it 3 Saturdays a semester, this in the summer semester. So the first class will begin this Saturday. Go see if you can switch. See if you can do it now. Because this is not the class you need to be in. And if not, I'll have the register switch you out of this class and into the other one, okay? All right. Okay. All right, thank you, Stephanie. Okay. So, what are the course requirements? I want you to participate in all class discussions and activities. Do any readings that I give you. You don't have to take exams or quizzes because I don't have any, but you want to complete the clinical practicum assignment very successfully. And, of course, you need to develop a clinical portfolio. And in that portfolio, you're going to do your ethical case studies, so you can put those in there. I'll give you an assignment on licensure. That can go in there, and so forth. Your clinical appraisals and your reflection. Okay? All right. So if you look at your scheduled topics, which is page 7 of your course syllabus, then you'll see that tonight I'm introducing the syllabus, talking about professionalism, clinical contracts, essential functions, and then I'm going to give you these ethical practices in speech-language pathology to do. Everybody must do them, okay? Now, what I want you to observe is if you're still in advanced clinical practicum, go under the content area and look in the table of contents, and you will see clinical contracts. So you are to download the clinical contracts, and you're to sign them, and then you're going to scan them together. Now, this is what I want to talk about. So I'm going to make 3 drop boxes, even though there's a drop box for each type of contract, like essential functions, chain of command. What I'm going to do is change those drop boxes to reflect clinical forms that I want you to put all in. If you will scan them together and put them in the drop box. So like, for example, the essential function statement, the student self-appraisal for your formative assessment, certification and licensure intention, HIPAA and FERPA confidentiality statement. All of those things I want you to drop as one file into the clinical Dropbox. Now, then the next thing I want you to do is to put your hours and your clinical appraisals in the Dropbox that states that. And then if there's a contract that your clinical supervisor must sign, and then provide with the contract the copies of the ASHA card and the license, Tennessee license, all of that will go in the Dropbox that says clinical supervisor. So I'll make the Dropbox after we finish. Okay? So the other thing I want you to attend to on the content, in addition to all these forms, you have the Code of Ethics, and this Code of Ethics was revised March the 16th. So please print out the Code of Ethics, read it, keep it with you, because it's going to be very important for our first activity. Okay, our first activity would be look under the table of content. You're going to print off the Code of Ethics. You're going to open all these forms and you're going to read them and sign them. And then under the next section you see ethical practices in speech-language pathology. So open up that file for me. And then click on Clinical Cases in Ethics. And then you're going to see clinical cases A through H. Does everybody see the clinical cases A through H? Okay, so your assignment is such. Now let me see if I can pull it up. You're going to read the case, and you're going to look at the Code of Ethics, and you're going to identify what principle does the case violate. And then what you're going to do is talk about what rules under those principles are being violated. So that's the assignment. So let me see if I can just pull it up again, because you have to do this by next week. Okay, so give me a minute and let me look at the instructions. Okay. And I know we're almost out of time. I'm just trying to pull up a PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint is not responding. But again, so let's look at case, we'll do one that's easy. Look at case F. It says a speech-language pathologist refuses to treat a client who is HIV positive. So that's the one we're going to do together. So what you're going to do is go under the Content section, and you're going to open the Code of Ethics. And if you open the Code of Ethics, you can see that that case is being violated because of what is stated in Principle of Ethics 1. Individuals shall honor their responsibility to hold paramount the welfare of persons they serve professionally or who are participants in research and scholarly activities. And they shall treat animals involved in research in a humane manner. But what is being welfare persons are being violated, and the rule that's being violated is Rule C. Individuals shall not discriminate in the delivery of professional services or in the conduct of research and scholarly activities on the basis of race, ethnicity, sex, gender, so forth and so on. So what you're going to do is identify the principles first that are being violated, and then you're going to identify the rules. And it could be one or more rules. It could be one or more principles. So, yes. So identify the principle first. So in this case, somebody doesn't want to serve somebody who is HIV positive. So Principle of Ethics 1 is being violated, and Rule C, Principle of Ethics 1, Rule C. Individuals shall not discriminate in the delivery of professional services, blah, 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 blah. But you also have to look at the other principles to see whether any of those principles are being violated as well. So we looked at case F. So what you're going to do is by next week, and this is an assignment, so you're going to take the ethical cases, and you can put spaces in between the ethical cases, and what you're going to do is tell me what principle is being violated, what rule is being violated, and then you're going to tell me what the solution is. What is the solution, okay? So the solution in this case is that you're going to have to serve the person with HIV. However, you're going to have to implement universal precautions so that you don't end up getting HIV. Any questions about that assignment? Everybody understand the assignment? Because if you do, this is going to go into your portfolio under the area that says ethics. Okay? All right, and I'll send you a PowerPoint just reminding you what to do. Okay. So this is one of the activities. You will be graded on that activity, and it is also an artifact for your portfolio. All right, let's see. If you will look at, so two things you're doing by next week. You're reading those files, and those forms that are under the area of clinical contracts, printing them off, signing them, dating them, and putting them back in the Dropbox. The second thing that you're doing is looking at the 2016 Code of Ethics, ASHA Code of Ethics, and you're looking at the cases, the ethical cases, and you're going to, for each case, identify the principle and the rule that was violated. Okay? All righty. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk to you about? If you look at the course outline, each week you have a new topic. And so, just come prepared to talk about those topics. I'll give you an article for professional liability and speech pathology, ethical considerations, and I'll point you to where you can read about professional and workforce issues on the ASHA website. And of course, we'll just go from there. Does anybody have any questions for me? Anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing no questions, anybody have any concerns? Okay, no concerns.
You might not have seen that.
That's okay. Who's talking to me?
Here, Sue.
Oh, Sarah, good. Go ahead, Sarah.
Last summer we had to have liability insurance through TSU. Is that the same? Is that the same rule?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's changed. And it had to come through TSU. It couldn't be from outside vendors. And so I think you had to pay an $11 fee or something like that. Am I correct? To the bursar's office? Yes. For that liability insurance?
Right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. You still have to do that. Everybody has to have liability insurance through TSU. Any other questions? Okay, if everybody is good, then we will stop tonight. But remember your homework assignment. And I'll send out an email reminding you to get it done. Okay, because we'll talk a little bit about that in next week's class, as well as how do we manage risk. Okay?
Dr. Smith, can you hear me?
I can. Nicole, go ahead.
I don't know if you had looked at the chat box. There was a few people posting questions, but I had a couple questions really quick. For those of us who need to turn in appraisals from last semester, which Dropbox do you want them in?
Okay, so let me look at the Dropbox right quick. And what I can do, oh, I'm sorry, I lost the, let me go back into eLearn right quick and then I'll look at the Dropboxes and tell you. And that is, we had 3 students who continued into their clinical practicums, and, well, really a couple of students. But those appraisals must be from last semester, not from the summer semester. So that's the first thing that I want to say. So that means that you need to add them into the spring hours and then redo that cover sheet. Okay? And so now that I'm going back into the course, then I'm going into the Dropbox, because I just brought the Dropboxes over, so I'll modify. You can actually put them into the clinical appraisal. I'm going to do this. I'll add a new folder, because I'm going to change the file folders anyway. So this is clinical appraisals and copies of your hours. For spring 2017. So I've just created a Dropbox for those of you who are still doing some practicum and you're going to have to turn in an appraisal. So you have a Dropbox that says clinical appraisals and copy of hours for spring 2017. Put it in that, okay?
Thank you.
You're
my
so
second
welcome.
question, I wanted to confirm that liability insurance that we bought through the university is good through August, correct?
It should be, because you bought it for the year, correct?
I think so. I just
I'm
wanted
pretty
to
sure
confirm.
it's for the year. Yeah, I'm sure it's for the year. You don't have to redo it every semester.
Great, thank you.
Now, if you do, I will be telling you guys quit fasting in a hurry, but I'll double check with Brittany. Okay, let's see. Somebody else. Should we know tomorrow if we start Monday? Where are you supposed to start again? Tell me where you're supposed to start. Did you say Bluegrass or something like that, Whitney?
Yes, ma'am. Bluegrass Outpatient Center.
Okay. Yeah, so you won't know tomorrow. The university closes on Fridays. So we are now in the summer work schedule, so that is Monday through Thursday. So you'll know, you won't be starting Monday. If you don't know today, you won't start on Monday.
Okay.
What happens is as the legal office gets the president's signature, then they email me a copy of the contracts. They come from Joe Hayes in legal, saying that, and it'll say in the title, fully executed contract. So I've been calling the legal office daily, every day, just to get an update. Yesterday, the attorney told me that, the contract person told me that she was meeting with the attorney, and then they would be taking the contracts to President Glover's office for signature.
Okay.
So we'll wait. I'll know something on Monday, but I will continue to call every day.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions? And okay, that's fine. I'll look for yours, Ashley Rico, in the final appraisal Dropbox. And then Lindsay, you want to ask me something after class. So, are there any other questions before we leave? Before I dismiss you? Hearing no other questions or seeing no other questions, then I guess class is ended.